An interesting study has just come out declaring that AI is making developers less effective. We're going to break down this study, explain what it means, what are the implications, and see if we can find out where things are going so wrong.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
We've seen over the past few years that AI benchmarking has been the main metric used to evaluate AI's performance on increasing software developer productivity. And while this is a useful tool for understanding AI capabilities, they tend to sacrifice realism for scale and efficiency. The tasks are self-contained, don't require any prior context to understand, and are scored algorithmically. And not to mention the latest models are actually just training against these tests trying to get themselves a better score, which ends up leading to them pursuing these better scores rather than what actually matters to developers. And that's where this study comes in. The aim of this study was to see how much AI tools actually improve developer performance. They hired 16 experienced developers, paid them a salary, and told them to solve real-world problems. But with a twist. Half of them were given AI tools to help them complete their tasks, half were not. And before they started, they were actually all asked what they thought the results of the study would be. And there was varying opinions, but the general consensus seems to be that they all thought that AI might speed up their development, but ultimately their code might suffer in quality. And if I'm honest, I figured the results would probably be about the same. But when the data came out, it was actually a surprise to everyone, including the researchers themselves. When developers worked with the AI tools, they took 19% longer than without. AI was making them slower. Now, I would have believed that the AI was making their code worse. I'm quite surprised it's making them slower. And the gap between this perception and reality is really unexpected. The developers in this study expected them to speed up by 24%. And even after experiencing all the pain and the hassle, they still thought they were 20% quicker. But interestingly, the study also revealed huge differences from developer to developer. And at first glance, this seems to come from the amount of experience a developer has with AI coding tools in the past. In fact, one developer ended up making a huge gain in productivity over the rest of the pack. And this has led to many AI researchers coming up to the conclusion that AI is probably like any other skill and it needs practice and learning. And maybe as people get better at using it, it might be able to show its power. And by all means, if you look at this case study and you read the reports, it does seem like a reasonable conclusion to come to. But when you actually look at the data, I think it tells a slightly different story. There was actually only one guy who did very well. And pretty much across the board, all of the other people who were experienced with AI did worse than their counterparts on the other side. And for me, that's just way too small of a sample size to come to the conclusion that we need to learn how to use it better. In my opinion, right now, the study is showing that if you are a strong developer, you should not be using tools like Cursor. Now, that's not to say that AI isn't useful now or it won't be useful in the future. It's possible, and in my opinion, probable, that we will get to a point where an AI coding tool is actually a benefit and a gain. And I do think it is a useful tool to bounce off of and to generate quick things like for loops and boilerplate. But I'm also not sure I buy into this idea that you need to spend hours and hours practicing it and getting better at it. These AI development tools are in constant flux. Really, any techniques or tips you might learn now may be completely redundant in a year's time. But more importantly, when it comes to prompt engineering, from my initial research, it doesn't feel like there's that much to learn. Sure, there are tips and tricks and general guidelines, but the upper limit isn't so high that I feel like you're going to be left behind, and something that's worth investing years of experience into. Because right now, I feel like most of the things you can learn in a couple of hours. So as it stands, I won't be using Cursor right now, but I will be following along with the AI development journey. Because I am keen to see where it goes, and I do think there is a future in it. I'm just not sure what that future is yet. But if you have differing opinions or feel like these AI coding tools have really helped you in some way, please leave a comment down below.